Okay.
응답 para Yeochin. Go to the into the shi.
Back to the kyung to the Jew. And we have a special guest.
Yes. Our very special, our very own Blake Burton. He is the man behind the magic that goes on
with
in
the
our
baby
podcast.
face. Oh. Man with the baby face.
I try to shave. I don't have a lot of facial hair. So
oh my gosh. Happy Black History Month.
Thank you.
Blake, will you tell us how we decided to come up with this episode?
You guys walked in 2 weeks ago, and I was like, "Do you have something you want to tell me?"
We said, Happy Black History Month.
Why did that come up? We were talking about something.
I said, we should be doing something for Black History Month. And then Blake was like, yeah.
Blake History Month.
Blake History Month.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah.
Blake History Month. Wow. Oh my God, that's the name. He even just came up with the episode title.
Perfect.
You are amazing.
Thank
Blake,
you.
tell us, how old are you?
23.
23.
Even younger than, I don't know why we thought you were 26. I had 26 in my mind.
I think because Kimmy's 26.
Okay.
We just recently had a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
But I actually do remember thinking, wow, Blake's really young. So I was thinking 22, but you recently turned 23.
November.
Yeah,
so just kidding.
recently, just a few months ago.
Yeah.
We know him so well.
But Blake, at 23, you're a business owner. You own
I'm trying to be.
Yeah, Nast Studio, where we record all of our podcasts. And I get a lot of questions from people who listen to the podcast. Like, where do you guys do it? Where do you guys go to record? You know, and I always explain to them, we found this studio. Well, Ellen, you found the first studio where we were recording, which is where Blake was our sound engineer, helping us with video and audio. And when he opened this space, it was kind of a no-brainer for us to
because from day one,
him.
When we started doing this, it was with Blake. And so when Blake said, I'm spreading my wings, then we said, we have to go to that because we needed that. You know, we had a thing going. So
yeah, and I thank you for that also. You guys are like you need somewhere to start your ground.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's mutually beneficial, and and we're so grateful for you too.
And we wanted to support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Young entrepreneur for sure. Which reminds me, Happy Black There you go.
That's the good stuff.
That's the good shit, Blake. I brought the good shit.
Yeah, don't open it for any client.
That's Blake for Blake History Month champagne bottle.
Hell yeah.
That's youth right there.
Yeah.
I miss. I don't even know what the fuck I was doing at 23. What were you doing at 23?
I was in school.
Oh,
I was still a student.
I think I was trying to work. Just like hustling, which is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
hustling hard.
definitely. A lot of hustling.
And you were just telling me a lot of things that you're learning. It's tax season, and you're a business owner now.
Tax season is the worst.
Yeah.
So.
We get that. We understand that. I am so excited to get to know you better, because you're always behind the red curtain. Sometimes we'll allude to you, right?
Literally
when we hear him
I'm in front of a red curtain now.
Yeah.
So
And if you ever hear, that's Blake from laughing at us from behind the red curtains. But, I do know intimate things about you, Blake.
Oh.
That, you don't have a micro penis.
No. I'm blessed.
So the reason I even brought that up.
We take your word for it.
Yeah. we actually had a conversation with Blake about micro penises, because I didn't even know that was a thing.
Neither did I.
And we learned from you what a micro penis was.
Because my guest, Kevin Leonardo, he has I guess that counts as.
What?
I think his penis counts as a micro penis.
So, that was what the whole, and we had no idea.
Self-described, right?
And I thought it was like a state of being. I didn't know that it was like a thing. So I was like, so do you have? And Blake literally jumped out of me. He's like, what? No! I was like, no. I didn't mean it as an offense. Like, I just meant is it a state of being of a penis and not but it's a continue.
Yeah,
it's
like
a
what
thing.
You get. It was
And you literally like, I thought you were gonna like leap through the roof.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck is this? No. So we learned that about you.
Yeah.
Now we know you are very blessed.
And you got some very interesting. You host your own podcast.
Yes.
And you have some very interesting guests.
Yes.
On.
Yes.
Yeah. What has that journey been like?
Well, I looked at my payment history last year, and there's been a lot of like joy, but not a lot of money up until this year. But I also am someone. I don't know if it's like stubborn, but I didn't want to really get any other job except focus on media. So it's been a journey of not making a lot of money, but getting like cool sponsorships. Like last year, like I had a sponsorship where I was in a house for like a whole year and I didn't have to pay for it. So like, you know, I was able to like live without realizing I didn't make a lot of money last year, you know, but besides the payment aspect, I've been doing it for like 4 years now.
Wow.
I do like some type of anniversary show each year. It's usually like a live thing. And I've interviewed over like 400 people.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I started doing podcasts in like my friend's house. So I literally started from like the very basic, like just plug a microphone into a computer. Having like random people come over to a house. Then there's a studio I manage. I met the owner like when I was 19. Then I started recording there. Then COVID hit, and then I did Zoom interviews. But I also worked at Moving 92.5. So like I had like radio-esque experience. So like I would record there, but then I had to pay for that. It was like $50 an hour, which wasn't bad, honestly. But like at like 18, that's kind of a lot of.
That's wild.
I mean, what got you into media?
I was a class clown in school. And like,
that's how we all start.
As I've grown to learn, it might have been like a coping mechanism a little bit, you know, at a very strict household. So I kind of got all my talking out in school, which is not the best choice. But with that, I don't know. I moved out of my house when I was 18 while I was still in high school. And I had like 4 months to decide what I wanted to do with my life. And I decided to focus on radio because I was in a radio class. I actually had my radio teacher as a guest, I think like a month ago here. So that was kind of like a full circle moment.
Were they so proud?
Yeah. And he was a famous radio host in Seattle. Who was like, do you know who Bob Rivers is? By any
I don't
chance?
know my Seattle media. I mean, I have a background in local media, but not in Seattle.
I forget.
Oh, okay.
I did
public
all this
radio
research.
or
it was public radio.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a popular show, and but my teacher was like third mic on it.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
But yeah, I did all this research and I forget what station it was.
That's all right. You
Kiss
got a lot going
something?
on
in
your mind about how to keep it going. And
so you went
100%.
to school
and
for
then
radio.
I took a radio class when I was a senior, and then I interviewed the 92.5 radio hosts, and then I got a job there like 2 weeks later while still in high school.
Wow. And you loved it.
Yeah.
What is it that you love?
Talking. I like talking a lot. But I've also learned the more I've interviewed people, it hasn't really given me a voice myself. So I'm trying to still learn my opinions on things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been an interesting journey of more getting to hear other people's perspectives. And the hope is to get more perspective about myself.
Yeah.
But
that's a really wise take.
At this age, at 20. I don't think I hit that until I was 10 years older than you, so like 33. And it was during COVID. It was 2020. It was right after the murder of George Floyd, and we had, I was a local reporter in Detroit and Flint and upstate New York. So police shootings I was no stranger to them, but I think the lens in which I looked at them, and I kind of knew from a news perspective how the cycle would go. It's like the outrage, the protests, the vigils, and then is there any real change? And it was the first time by 2020 I was a stay-at-home mom. We were all like on pandemic lockdown. I had been out of news for several years, and that probably was the first time I was confronting what do I feel about it? I felt I was never allowed to really lean into that because I had to be so neutral. Even if I had initial feelings, like this is fucked up, and I feel like I just buried that for to show all the sides. And that all of that came crumbling for me in 2020. And I started thinking about, my Black colleagues and friends that I worked with, and what were they thinking when we were covering these events.
Wow.
They probably had so much thought, but I didn't ask them. Right. So that's when I started having those conversations and asking them, hey, I apologize if if I never checked in with you about us covering those things, or, even when we were living and seeing it in our own communities, that I didn't think about those extra layers. Because I was just thinking from like a journalist's perspective, right? And now I think, now we are finding our voices. And so I really resonate with you when you say that this has been a journey where you're realizing, what do I actually think about things? Because I'm listening and hosting a lot of other people.
I have a question about, so you were talking about like connecting with Black people. What about like a lot of Asian hate was going on during that time too? So do you feel like people were actually checking in with you? Because I always wonder, because I've interviewed so many people and I feel like it's easy to get guessed, because at the end of the day, people want to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm still even trying to figure out if I like people and if people actually really genuinely care about what others think or feel.
Right.
But I'm an optimistic guy, but like, I don't know. Like, do you feel like you got that like same assurance that you felt like you wanted to give people?
That's a good question.
I felt hurt.
Yeah.
I felt particularly because I live in a white neighborhood, like in the woods, deep, like not rich white, like country white. And they just, had no idea that was even in the news. Like, remember the Atlanta shooting where 6, I believe, or 8 Asian women died from, and it was like, I was so heartbroken because those look like my aunties and my mom's friends, like, and I was crying, I was upset, and people were in their bubble. They didn't know.
Immediately we knew what that was. I remember more than any other, yes, we did hear earlier in the pandemic, like the freak attacks, right? Of elderly being punched on the sidewalk and stuff. And I remember being scared for my parents and telling them, I got my mom like a little alarm thing where you pull it. And because I knew they went on their nightly walks during COVID, I said, please just always go together and just be alert. I did have a few people check in with me, but I think I still felt detached because it wasn't happening to me. So
I think I think maybe, so there was a comedian guy in Seattle that when I started, I had seen him a couple times, but I think he was already on his way of wrapping it up or something. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And all of a sudden, he made a Facebook post like, I know a lot of people have been asking where I've been, and I was hospitalized. It was in Seattle. And someone hit him with a brick or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I was, and it was Asian hate. Like he like ignored them, and then they escalated. And he was like, I was bleeding on the sidewalk. And by the grace of strangers, I live to tell the story. But check in on your people. And I'm like, whoa. I think that really made me, and then another Seattle friend told me that someone hit them while they were on the street, and they were so shocked they didn't react. So I realized more and more how close these things were happening.
I think what happened was I was stunned because those events gave permission to so many people to just be overt about it.
Right.
I think a lot of the racism towards Asian Americans was very subtle, like below the surface.
Yes.
And it was like it's a lot of microaggressions. But when that became actual like physical aggressions, that was very shocking to me because for whatever reason, I mean, so I will say probably growing up in the American public education system, that to me was a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So far ago, like 1850s, right?
Or we're sold that, right? Like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. And I knew like my mom experienced it, my uncles experienced it like in the 1970s when they were growing up in LA and they were immigrants. But those were, again, stories of the past. So what was shocking to me was when I realized I'm raising Asian kids that look Asian, and they are going to have to confront this at some point. And so, I think it was just a sobering time. And what happened, I think for me, it was like just an awakening for so many other groups.
Yeah.
And feeling like the need for solidarity, maybe for the first time, like consciously in my life, because it always, I think before then it seemed like these different things.
Yeah.
Like there was anti-Asian hate. There was, anti-Blackness and like, anti-LGBTQ. But it's like it all came together.
Yeah, right? Kind of like it escalated and it kind of blew up. I will say I felt like it brought me closer to the Black community because nobody understands those kind of struggles. Yeah. I feel like it was my Black friends that really understood where this was coming from, the anger, the shock, but also like not shocked, so in a way it's How do you feel living in Seattle?
That's a great question.
Because I don't know if you knew him, Carlos, who was in a lot of these Seattle cut videos, and but he moved to Arizona. He's like, I don't fuck with Seattle anymore.
But like, is it better in Arizona?
That's what I was like, bitch, you moved to Arizona though. Like, no. He's like, but the interesting thing he said was, you know what? Arizona's overt. Like, you know exactly. You can. Nobody's gonna. Whereas Seattle is covert,
which is a little bit more sinister. It can feel
exactly.
Yeah.
You've lived in Seattle all your life.
Yeah. I was lucky. I grew up on Mercer Island, so I was definitely.
No, that's right. He grew up richer than us.
No. It was a thing. My family each had like multiple jobs. It was a whole thing. But it was like a good school experience.
Yeah.
I was definitely like tokenized for sure.
Yeah.
But like since graduating from Mercer Island and everything, like figuring out what it means to be a Black Blake in Seattle is definitely interesting. And like I'm a Black business owner, but what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
But I definitely feel that I've gotten this opportunity. I obviously applied to be part of Seattle Restored, which is the people who gave me a grant to open this space.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely did matter a little bit that I was Black, So like I think Seattle is doing what they can to like support communities. So, but then at the same time, it feels weird that you have to get that support in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the equal playing fields. But I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what it means to be like all my friends are different races. I've never really thought about it too much, but it definitely matters for sure. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's a great point because you start wondering at what point do you come into that consciousness?
Yeah,
because my kids don't even really truly have an idea. So is it like it is a social construct, right? And what. I'm wondering when that will kind of shatter for my kids.
What?
It's so easy for them. It's they're getting all the Black history education, and I wish I could be there, every day, kind of fly on the wall.
Yeah.
But it seems that it hasn't really changed that much from when I was attending school. They're learning about the same people, and I want to know: are you learning about current things? Current events, right? Because it's always the same people, the same civil rights leaders that they're learning about, and it's like so much in the past again.
Right.
And it's like, no, we're not beyond this. We're not post, racism and all these issues. It's you guys are the next generation. So I feel the conversation has to kind of be a little bit more forward and confronting the realities. Mm-hmm. But even in Seattle, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we were diverse with our foods, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that gives people a place to like connect with each other, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my kids are fine bringing. They like having
That's
Korean
a huge
food.
advancement.
They like sharing, right? Yeah. They like sharing their food, and I told my kids, when I told them the other day they were eating like the little Yeochin, like anchovies.
Yeah,
I said I wasn't allowed to bring that at school because people were they would like pinch
fish
their noses
for lunch.
And say, gross, and then And Bennett's like, oh, well, they just don't have, they're missing out. They don't have the Korean taste bud. So even the way he justifies that is different from like, I was like, more like shame.
That's true, yeah.
Like, oh, is that icky, gross? Like, how come my parents didn't think about that before packing that in my lunch, you know?
I think hard-boiled eggs are still a no.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, my kid likes rice with egg, but it's with bacon.
Yeah. So
whatever.
I
think that smells less. Like a hard-boiled egg has that sulfur.
Not just opening up the hard-boiled egg. Yeah. How do you feel about Black History Month?
No, that's a good, like some of my white friends will be like, why is there not a white history month?
Oh, Blake!
So I'm like,
wait a minute. Your friends?
Yeah, that are my age. They're like, I'm like, it's White History Year for you guys.
Blake, how can you be friends with people like this?
A lot of people are ignorant.
I know, but oh my God, how do you put up with that though?
You just try to, teach them.
But it's not your job. It's 2024.
If they're your friends, and if it's not coming from
how do you separate that?
If it's not coming from like a malicious
it's people
perspective. So a lot of people are just ignorant.
Yeah.
But that's so fucking annoying.
That's why I don't have faith in humanity.
Oh, no!
But I'm trying to. But I'm 400 people into interviews, and I'm still like, do I like people? So I don't know.
Do you feel that way about us?
What?
Do I like these people?
No, I like you guys. I like you guys. And it's not just because you're paying me. I like you guys.
Okay. Real talk. You're sitting in the curtain. You listen to every one of our fucking episodes.
Yeah, I watch a lot of the stuff that you guys...
Yeah,
well, in the beginning,
tell us your true feelings.
No, I think you guys had a very good idea of what you guys wanted to talk about. And I think that's inspiring as a podcast. Because I'm still trying to figure out what I want to talk about.
You've done more than us, though. Yeah. How do you choose your guests?
Comes down to maybe biases, and if certain people are reaching out via PR agents, because I interview a lot of artists, so that's kind of easy to track. Like, do these guys have good growth on their whatever or whatever? Are they
You're a lot more strategic.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, he's tracking their growth and tracking their careers. We're like, what's on our mind?
But that's awesome. Like, you guys are able to do that, and you have a lot of life experience to share. I obviously, I'm 4 adult years old or something like that, right? So I don't have a lot of life.
4 adults
or
years
6.
old. I love that.
Am I 6?
Yeah.
I'm a 6 adult years. No, I'm 5 adult years old.
Because you're counting from 18.
Yeah. So I don't have that crazy of life experience yet. So that's why I have to gain all this experience.
You know what I found very interesting? That you were so fascinated by this Kevin Leonard. Was
Kevin Leonardo?
Yeah. What's so interesting? Whenever you bring up his name, you're instantly
I know
laughing.
who he is.
Your energy goes
just because of Blake. Yeah.
Why does he intrigue you so much? I find him so ugh. I get such an ick from him.
Because he's a total influencer, but that's who he is. He's just that millennial influencer. That's your actual.
Is he a millennial?
He's 24.
Is that a millennial?
I would say
not millennial.
That's a Gen Z.
My bad.
Yeah.
Gen Z. He's just the stereotypical
person
living
the
in
iconic,
putting it all out there.
And to
he's like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, and I don't really know people that are actually genuinely like that. So it's there's a lot of things we're gonna have disconnects about because of that, but it's humorous and
you find whenever his name comes up, you laugh so hard.
And he's just broken the YouTube rules of what you can post online.
I guess in a way he is
he's
groundbreaker.
He's the Martin Luther King of micropenis.
No, we cannot make that. No, we're not gonna.
How can you do this, Blake? During Black History Month, this is so wrong.
But can I say, I feel the way. Gosh. I wonder if you feel about Black History Month the way we feel about like Lunar New Year, especially this year.
That kind of coincided.
I heard that it changed from Chinese New Year to Lunar New Year, and there's a whole conversation behind that or something.
Yeah, because I think in the beginning it was what we grew up with was like Chinese New Year. That never bothered me as a Korean kid.
month, Asian American month.
Sure, that too. But it has become is like a money grab for all these businesses.
Where Target is like, look, purchase our Black History Month products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And what gave, I don't know if I can say this, but what gave me ick during Stop Asian Hate was all these emails saying like, support an Asian-owned business. And I'm like, I want to do that, but on my own terms. I don't want to monetize. I'm not capitalizing on this moment. Yeah.
It feels gross.
It feels icky. It feels icky. And I mean, I think so every year it gets more, but this year, like the Lunar New Year stuff, I'm like, do you celebrate Lunar? I mean, we did when growing up, but
we did New Year, New Day,
we
like
did
New Year,
and then sometime in February, whenever Lunar New Year is, we would get together again.
It's Lunar New Year. Do you feel that the white people are reminding you it's Black History Month?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Like there's some like cool Black History Month stuff happening in Seattle.
Absolutely.
But also there's a thing where like last year, like I don't know if you know who Talib Kweli is, but but he was in town last year and did like a free show. Like
that is so cool.
Yeah, down the street from my house, and I didn't know about it until I heard the music. So I walked towards the music, and I was like, "What the hell?"
I paid to see him like years ago. Damn, I didn't know that either.
Things like that, I don't feel like it's in your face as Black History Month, but I don't really hear about those things happening until it's like too late.
Yeah.
So like, how much are you actually like showcasing what's going on versus just saying Black History Month? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know.
I'm surprised that you growing up Black in Mercer Island, East Side.
Yeah.
Weren't you just so fucking over it? Like growing up Asian on the East Side, I was over it. Especially now that I hear that you were saying your parents were 3 to 4. Same. Yeah. I lived in Bellevue, but my parents, we were in the bottom of the hill, and all the rich kids were in the top of the hill, and they were working around the clock. Yeah. So as a poor, you know what's worse than just being poor and, with your poor people? Yeah. Poor amongst rich people.
100%.
That makes it like extra in your face.
Yeah.
Don't you resent? Like,
I don't know. I had a really strange childhood, and my dad was very like on the side of all these white people are out to get you, and then like having white friends or like white teachers and etc. So I didn't really know what to really focus on or believe.
Yeah.
Right?
You seem very chill though about like the fact that you have friends that are like, what about what? That would piss me the fuck off.
Well, like, my friends that are asking that are also like religious, and I'm already like, you're probably brainwashed in some way. No offense, people that are religious.
Yeah.
Are they Mormons?
No, like I have friends that are like Catholic or whatever, and like this.
No offense to Mormons.
Yeah, but like the shit that some religions believe, I'm like, it's not. Or like one of my friend's brother, who's like more religious than him even.
Don't you want to tell them like, Jesus is black though, right?
It makes sense because you're a podcast host, and as a host, you have to decenter yourself.
Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of battles I decide not to really care about or fight.
I see.
Oh, I need to do that. I need to learn from you, Blake. I fight too many battles. I get too irritated. I want to be not irritated.
But you're opinionated. I want to get more opinionated.
I want to get less opinionated. You need a little bit of me. Yeah. I need a little bit of you.
He needs to find a co-host that's like a foil. Like, just like Ellen is my foil, right? That's really interesting. Were there, once you started to pursue your career and live in Seattle, were there fundamental like shifts in your brain about kind of like recognizing when it comes to, your identity and like,
Yeah, like one thing that's super simple and silly is like age. Like Seattle's not really like a young person town to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So like me trying to like interview people or go to clubs or bars and being denied, or even if I got like a written yes by a manager or whatever and still not being allowed in, or still like,
wait, you're 23 though.
Yeah, but when I started when I was like 18. So like actually like realizing how apparent age is, and I still like I'm DJing a bar tonight, and like 2 weeks ago when I was DJing at a club, they asked me if I was old enough to be in
wow.
So age is always going to be a thing no matter what. I have a baby face, but like
and I'm all like, baby face Blake.
But yeah, I definitely get when I'm in certain like meetings with people will say like I speak fluent as a black person or whatever. You know?
I get that because
like I don't drop the N-bomb all the time, but so that might be it. I don't know.
How do you take it so lightly?
Because people are ignorant, you know what I mean? So like you're gonna get mad at an ignorant person.
You don't expect much.
Yeah.
Your expectations.
But like Google is free. It's I don't. You know what? Yes, ignorance. But I'm having trouble with like Google is free. Digital search is at your fingertips. You can literally know anything if you fucking want to. I mean, not know anything
because of echo chambers. That's why. So like you believe.
I guess
what you
I'm always like searching. I always feel like I don't know anything. So I'm always like, I need to know what's the discussion here. But it's crazy how much people think they know things.
Yeah.
Their truth is just what they see.
Well, I think it's the echo chamber for sure. It's like the more that you, like it will feed you the algorithm, when I say it, the algorithm on any kind of platform will feed you what you want to see and what you believe. And that's why it's so hard to come out of that. That's why it's so important to have like real life conversations and real life interactions. But I would get people like that all the time too when I worked in news. Like you're foreign, but your English is perfect. And you know, it would be like in front of my bosses.
Yeah.
And they're stunned and I'm caught off guard. And it would do like the polite chuckle.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until years later that I'm like, I wish I said stuff at that time.
Yeah.
You know? But then always it's like the onus is on you. Like, how could I have said that so as not to offend and, not to look like the jerk myself, when they were saying something when, it's always like, what? That's a compliment.
I want to interview
like, why are you offended by a compliment?
I want to interview you when you're 41.
Yeah.
Because maybe I'm just sick of it.
I mean, I think it's different. It's like
because maybe when I was younger, I was more.
Yeah. And
like you're still like, I mean, it's not new to you, but it's like I think because you're young, you're like, oh, I'm young too, and I don't know a lot of things. But I guess I'm at a point where I'm like, bitch, you should know by now. Like if you don't got it figured out now.
So there's a Korean saying is like when somebody, they're like acting too ignorant or whatever. It's like 가정교육 잘못 받았어.
Yeah.
Family education, they didn't get a good family education. That's what we say like, as Koreans.
Yeah.
It's like that.
After a certain point.
You can be ignorant, right? But part of your formation is like who was there, who was responsible for it.
Yeah. In this digital age, like I get so curious. I'm always thinking I'm wrong. So I'm always Googling. She's like, oh, did I say this wrong? It's like the most, I think it's all about perspective.
But that's rare to think you're wrong.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
I'm finding
yourself.
that out. Yeah.
You're gonna check yourself. So
I always think I'm wrong.
Rare. Yeah.
I had a lady the other day who was like, oh, the bus was early. And I was like, oh, actually, the bus was not. I know this for a fact because I looked at the time when the bus came, and it was like right on time. And this person was like, no, it was early. I was like, I happened to look at the time when my kid got on the bus. I know for a fact that it was not. Well, my kid left earlier and didn't get on the bus because your kid was late. And but they were so aware, as in for their version of truth.
Right.
I was like, no, there's your version of truth, and then there's reality.
Yeah.
And that scares me because the only reason I was able to factually tell her she was wrong was because I looked at the clock and the exact time. If that didn't happen, I would have believed her.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how can you be so sure?
Yeah.
When I had a friend sing, we had a sing off at the karaoke party.
Yeah.
And it was the Listen song by Beyonce. My friend was like, oh, Beyonce didn't sing that. Jennifer Hudson sang that. I'm like, oh my God. Have I been saying it wrong all this time? I was pretty sure I could see Beyonce singing the song. Yeah. I was like, how the fuck did I fuck this up? And I go check it. I'm like, I fucking knew this, but I doubted myself.
Yeah.
And my friend that happens to say this is like really good on music. So I was just shocked that she was so sure. And then even though I could see Beyonce singing the song in the music video, I doubted myself. But people are so quick to think that they're right. Whereas me, I'm always like, I better fact check me. I'm always afraid of being wrong. What's worse?
I don't know.
You're not the worst one. No. I guarantee. Yeah, because even if you're right and even if you're wrong, you'll learn, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's better to be wronged and then to own it.
Yeah.
I'm more afraid to be right. That's so fucking sad. I didn't say that. Did I say that out loud?
Is that a confidence thing or just a mixture of wanting to know more information or what?
Well,
I don't know.
I think it's also, I was talking to someone. I don't know if you saw all this drama that's unfolding with Monique and her going on Club Shay Shay.
I know who Monique is though, but
what about the whole Cat Williams thing?
I've decided not to watch that interview because it's so supposedly popular. I'm just like,
You're just gonna say anti-popular stuff.
No, I try. I want to interview celebrities or whatever, but like usually when it's super popular, it's not really
interesting to you.
You're gonna tell he's just gonna do some hot takes, and then people who don't even know who Cat Williams is gonna be like, oh my gosh, this guy is crazy, and they're pretty basic takes from my understanding. It's just like no one said it on a podcast,
right?
So it's not really as entertaining as people think it is, in my opinion, and from what I understand.
Interesting.
So I don't know. Like, did anyone watch his last special? Like, let's talk about. He dropped a special.
I've always thought Cat Williams is funny.
Yeah, but it's literally just because he was the vessel to like say some.
Yes, absolutely.
Like if anyone else said it, they would probably get the same.
Yeah. So Monique is riding on that, and then bringing her wave of like, because she was blacklisted from Hollywood, and she's been saying, but now it's popular to say it, right?
Yeah.
When she said it, it wasn't popular. So, but sadly, then there's this whole thing with her son. And it's just like become like a hot mess situation. But I'm surprised that you aren't as invested.
No.
So I mean, you do have he does have like his own opinions, and
Yeah, we just found it.
I guess that's an opinion.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was a very strong opinion.
I guess so.
See, you're coming out on our
gosh.
not. The closet. I don't want you to be offended after the micro penis comment. Like the things I take. No, but
oh my gosh.
But you are.
Yeah, you're very mindful. Intentional about.
Yeah,
like, who you have on, what you talk about. Yeah.
I've always felt you are. I've always felt that you had. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do a podcast for so long if you didn't have a vision for it, right?
I think
unless you're stubborn or something, right? That goes back to me maybe just being stubborn and just like throwing stuff at the wall. Who knows?
Do you worry that, like you said, you're stubborn and you chose to stick with media, that you jumped in too quick?
That's what my grandma says. Oh. But I don't know. I'm already like.
What does she say? That
I should get a normal job. Maybe join the Air Force.
Great.
Do you have?
My boyfriend was in the Air Force when he was like 60 years ago. So why aren't you in the? You know what I mean?
And does that hit your nerves a little bit?
I had to have a conversation with my grandma to like, I'm not going to visit you if you bring up.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Found your voice.
I ghosted her for a little bit, and then I was like, this is why I'm not. Yeah. And then we made up, and we're good now.
Good.
So.
You know what? Well, if you do have, because I do remember having those doubts, I went hardcore with photography. And I went to school for photography, art history. I was so sure this is exactly what I did, the whole thing. And the only way you're doing exactly the right thing. You don't know. Yeah. And the only way you know is to actually follow through, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hitting some milestones. Like I'm in my own space now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something.
Yeah. And no, it's more than something. And the only way to actually know it is to live it, breathe it, and do it, and that's exactly what you're doing. So if you ever have one of those dates that days that you have doubts, just know that you are actually doing it.
Yeah.
And that's all it matters. Ew, I sound like one of those old people. They're like, oh my God. Don't listen to me.
What do you have, I guess, on your vision board? I mean, what is your vision for your business?
Yeah.
Like the year ahead, 5 years ahead.
I want to be like a staple of like a podcast studio where like if a comic or someone's coming into town, they know they can record with me.
Yeah.
I want to be like the Breakfast Club a little bit too, where a lot of people want to come here for like press tours or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that slowly but surely. But like I've gotten a lot more yeses than nos as of late.
That's great. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I just need to. I just want to be more of a staple. And 'cause right now, which I don't think I'll ever stop. But right now, I'm the one who's kind of like pursuing everything, and then getting the yeses or nos versus people reaching out to me and giving me.
You want the dynamic change.
Yes, and that comes with having more like, I don't know if impact's the right word or just presence. I guess because even with my interviews, it's not that I give a good interview, but a lot of the times people are coming to see my big guest. So trying to figure out how I could be more of a personality, which will in turn make it more of a reason for people to want to work with me and etc.
Like we're coming to see Blake. We're gonna, give an interview to Blake.
Like that hot wing guy, right? The one that interviews you while you're eating hot wings. Right. He's like become a household name. Yeah. Didn't he just start that on YouTube?
I have no idea if it's part of a brand or not, to be honest.
And then he's like now become the go-to guy that all the celebrities want to go to have an interview.
I want to be like Oprah, I guess, then. You know what I mean? Like where like Adele's only going to give Oprah her time to be interviewed. I want to be like that. I want to be this.
I want to be the person that you want to be the person that gets sought out.
Yeah.
For that thing that you offer. Yeah. And you're trying to figure out what that thing is that you offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think that you offer? Yeah. Like with Oprah, I would say just empathy. Like you just want to talk to her. Like she's going to take care of you. Right? When you're, embroiled in whatever and you need to set the record straight.
And lately we've been told that she's,
Is she like Ellen or something?
Monique was the one to blast her because she used her for her personal, what she said in private. Monique thought she was friends with her and then was put out to put her family on the show, which Monique did not want. So it's like that whole conversation of there are no ethical billionaires. Money changes you.
Right.
But you don't have money, so you're okay.
Especially when I have to pay taxes, I'll have zero money.
You're ethical right now. You're fine. You're good.
There's no tax. There's no tax programs, anything like that for Seattle Restored.
Yeah. You got. You know what you do? I think with
Blake Lives Matter. I make a whole Blake Lives Matter campaign.
I was gonna say report your business as a loss.
No, I've made some money.
No, but with all that you put in, that's why you need a really good tax person. Yeah. All the money that you put into the business, if they account for that, then it's gonna look like.
Right.
I don't mean that I'm not saying, see, you took it as a 23-year-old. I'm talking as a 41-year-old that's going to help you out with your finances.
Right.
I'm not saying you don't make money. I'm saying you need to show in the paper how much you've invested, and then you probably financially invested a lot more than what you've been able to bring in.
I just want to throw all the money away and then start fresh for this year. I don't want to all these loopholes. I guess I could figure out, but it's like what? We're like a month away from having to pay taxes. I'm like,
oh God, that reminds me when we have to do our taxes and gather all our shit. It's
the
worst.
I have my W-2s from being a DJ and then I have my own thing for the business. So it's
complicated. Probably the easiest
thing. They make it so complicated.
Yeah,
fake my death.
Huh?
I can fake my death.
Okay, that took a turn. I would say hire a tax person. God damn. What?
I hope the situation is not that dire.
Yeah, are you okay?
Yeah.
Is that what's been on your mind? Faking your own death? Are you okay?
Yeah, I think.
Why are kids so
good. I'm a very happy glass half full type guy.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you seem that way.
Yeah.
Fake your own death did not come across that way. You're always smiling, so I can't tell if you're... you're always smiling. You're a very smiley person.
I guess so.
Sometimes that...
Maybe I can lose calories from that or something.
It does take... I mean, that was an article that I read, I think, years ago. The amount of effort and muscles you use to smile.
Oh, there we go.
Or there's
smile more, laugh more.
No, but then there's women and they're like, don't smile. Frown lines.
Oh, gosh.
But then there's the guys that are like, you should smile more,
Oh,
so
my God. I've had that happen.
Oh, no.
Smile more.
I did
less,
not know that I had resting bitch face. Do you think that I do? I think I have resting blank face.
Like, I don't think you do, but yeah. You're asking somebody who's been told all her life, smile more, smile more.
Oh, really?
By
you don't have a resting bitch face, though.
Oh, I have Botox now.
Oh!
See, now I'm like this.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Amazing.
Did you think today was going to be this fun?
Yeah, it's great. I love your guys' podcast. So
you are the only person that's probably listened to every single episode.
Because you've
there
had
we
to.
go. Yeah.
You've had to multiple times.
Our paid biggest fan.
There we go.
We love it. We love it. Yeah.
Because Blake was a paid guest.
Yes.
Yes. There we go.
This episode. Oh, well, thank you so much, Blake.
Yeah.
Blake History Month!
Black History
Make
Month.
history, Blake!
I'm trying.
Let's plug
Tax
your studio.
history.
Let's plug your podcast and your studio before we leave.
My podcast is called the Nast Podcast. I interview touring artists, business owners, comedians, and my studio is called Nast Studio. So everything's just under Nast. And I also go by Nast, so keeps everything very simple.
What is the history of that?
Nast. Because I keep wanting to say nasty, but...
Yeah, it was an acronym. It's still kind of an acronym. So I had a radio show in high school called Hottest Hip Hop News and Sneaker Talk, and I made it an acronym called Triple H Nast. And then Triple H is a wrestler, and no one knew how to pronounce any of it, and so I cut off the H's and made it the Nast Podcast. So Nast is kind of news and sneaker talk, but I don't really know many people that know much about sneakers, and I don't really cover the news either. So it's just like a made-up word at this point.
Oh, I love it though. Well, news can be anything, right?
Yeah.
News can be like the talk, the chatter of the day. And then, sneakers.
What's the worst sneaker that you could see on a girl that would instantly make? This is a TikTok topic I see all the time.
Are you a huge sneakerhead?
Like if a girl was wearing a certain type of sneaker, you'd be like, absolutely not. You couldn't date her.
No, I'm not that materialistic.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of shoes, but I don't have that. I have like 20 something.
And Blake is single, ladies.
Oh my gosh. It's
not
hard.
Materialistic.
It's hard out here.
It's hard out, is it?
But I need to focus on my studio.
Okay, never mind.
Girls are
busy.
expensive,
That's true. Wow.
I was dating someone who was open to doing like the equal like split things. But now if you like, I don't want to go on a first date, and if it doesn't go anywhere, I still have to pay for everything. But that's what I guess that's a given that you're supposed to pay. Like this the silver.
Okay, ladies, forget it. He's not available. Don't unless you want to pay.
I'm trying to pay for taxes right now. What if a girl takes me on a date?
Yes,
you know
if you are financially.
I have a lot of what's the right word? Potential. That's what people should date me because of my potential.
If you would like to invest in a man, he's an investment. He's a startup.
If
you want a startup, Blake is very available. We're so sweet. We should do this more often, Blake.
Yeah.
Next time we'll pop the champagne and drink it as we do it.
Okay, but yeah, everything Nast, Blake Nast, Nast Podcast, Nast Studios.
Awesome.
Go Nast.
Go Nast.
Well, thank you. You make it so easy for us. We love coming here. We love the space.
It was destiny because
it really was.
My friend's restaurant is right next door, and I was like, "What are the chances?" Do you believe in signs?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because I was like, "It's his new space is right next to my friend's restaurant. Yeah, it's meant to be."
It was.
Yeah,
providential.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm liking the area. I'm working with Real Change. I don't know if you know Real Change.
Yes.
So that like client and myself feel more comfortable. Like, working on a partnership right now.
I think that's wonderful. Yeah. And bringing the historic feeling of Pioneer Square back.
Yeah, because Pioneer Square is not easy for.
Yeah, I get messed with all the time, and then all these people like see me bring in like flat screen TVs and cameras and all. They
see all the hype. Yeah.
This one guy's obsessed with me. Like, he freaks out about my hair. Like, if I keep it down, he tells me to put it up, and like I don't know why. But I saw him like in UPS with his pants down the other day, so I'm like, do I really care?
Exactly.
If you're like he like freaks out like it's been for the past like month.
Oh my!
They're like, put that fucking hair up. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. And then I try to ask him why, and then he just starts talking gibberish, so he doesn't really have an answer. Something about my hair being wet, but my hair's not wet. But then he'll start clapping. If my hair's in a bun, he'll literally start clapping. So I'm like, I don't.
That's at 23 dealing with that.
Yeah.
It's like being catcalled by a homeless person.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, this thing?
That's, you got it. That's now you know how we feel. I mean, I don't get those anymore. Now they just ignore me.
That's one advantage of age, okay?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
They're like, oh, that crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we did.
We did it!
Yay! Woo! Thank you.
Of
we
course.
can say 응답하라
Yeochin!
You got it!